Hello, everybody. Welcome back to episode 3 of the Taverners podcast. Today, we are joined by our first time guest, Matt. Say hi, Matt.
Hello, I'm Matthew.
And returning guests, me, Zach.
Arias. I
And previous host struggled in the intros a bit, Manly Calder. So guys, I've been thinking about stuff for us to discuss, and one of the things I was thinking about was me and Harry have been watching a lot of LCK. I don't know if you guys have been watching it as well.
I'm watching LPL more than LCK.
LPL. What's LPL?
LPL is the Chinese league.
Oh, I see.
so off-brand LCK.
Okay, hang on a second.
Wow.
I just opened like 2 minutes into the podcast, immediately cancelled.
Immediate channel. Yeah, and oh my god, has it been so cringe this summer split? It's the fucking
Some of the matches.
It's not even some of the matches. It's just the constant reuse of a set amount of champions, and it's like if you don't ban like Yumi or let Zeri have Yumi or let enemy team have like Sivir, Nah, Poppy. It's just GG, and I think that's so cringe that I don't like the champions that are meta right now, and I don't like how little champions are meta.
I mean,
One of the it's the thing is you can count the number of viable champions for every position on the map on like one hand, and like when the game is in a state
Less than that as well.
like in the top lane, it's what like Nah, Ornn, Gwen, maybe Sejuani. Like
It was a Renekton earlier, but has not been played for a long time.
Oh yeah, I saw it. They won that game, didn't they?
Yeah.
yeah, the mighty fruit.
And then
Great
obviously
team
they
to
got
look
like Gangplank. Gangplank's
Oh yeah,
disgusting as
GP.
well.
I forget.
GP
It's
is
just
always
those like
staple.
4 though.
I'll
Yeah.
say this: LCK has always been more like situated onto the meta every time. Like every other region obviously plays the meta, LPL, LEC, LCS. But LCK is renowned for always being like meta picks, always picking the
Yeah.
strongest at the moment. Other teams are not likely to like, oh, we have a comfort pick top laner who can actually beat Darius. They're like, nope, you're not doing that. You're playing Gwen or you're
Well,
on Ornn duty.
It makes
Yeah.
sense where they're playing at the top of their league, and like minor fractional differences can make or break a game. And obviously, this is their earnings. So they're not just going to try and they're going to choose the best as possible. But I just don't like how Harry said you can count the amount of meta picks in each lane in under like 5 fingers. Like I could probably count. So he said the top lane. Bot lane is either Zeri or Sivir. Jungle is Poppy.
Aphelios as well.
Or Kalista.
I've heard has lost
Aphelios,
like almost every
Kalista,
game.
Yeah, but he's still picked a lot.
Yeah.
As
He's,
like
he's picked a lot. He's really
Callista's
strong.
banned like every game actually.
yeah, although she was picked a lot into Zeri counter because
It's
she's
like
really
4
good at
champions in the bot
Aphelios.
lane, and then in the
Jinx,
mid lane.
Jinx is still going strong, believe it or not.
Jinx Aphelios is like
when
the
she
I haven't seen a
actually gets
Jinx.
to the late game, she becomes so strong. It was
She's one of those champions that like you don't. Well, you see quite a lot of Jinx in solo queue, but Aphelios is one of the champions that you don't usually see in solo queue, but is really strong in like clash and coordinated teams. Like
not even
there's
Clash, just
like-
pro play.
Nar as well, top side. You barely see him in solo queue, but he's always played in pro play and 5v5s.
well, he's so strong when he's in Meganar form, but like
He's weak
obviously that's
otherwise.
only actually helpful in a team fight if you have a team that can work around it.
Yeah, I remember.
He-
I don't remember. There was
But
a
also,
Gnar
like,
game
his-
that
yeah.
their failure was the fact that Mega Gnar isn't permanent. Like as soon as really forget the game, but I remember a commenter specifically saying like it's just a letdown because he goes into his Mega Gnar form. The team fight's going really well, but it doesn't last that long, and he ends up being knocked out of it, and they lose the team fight afterwards because they've got no front line. They've got no way to stop enemy ADC getting to. And I say this as if you guys are gonna be like, "What enemy ADC getting to the back line?" But Zeri champion, like, they had nothing to stop
Oh,
the
yeah,
back to
that
front
makes
and
sense.
front to back.
That's the point of Meganar. He's that ticking time bomb that if it works, he will literally 1v5 a fight completely. But if he doesn't get the player in the right time, you've seen it so many times, the team just loses.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
thing is, I don't think you can pin too much of that on the Gnar though, because like think about that, but then also think about the number of times that like if like a team has like had a Meganar and like a full like 5v5 like in a mid lane or around a Baron pit, and they have the Meganar, but then they just can't. The team are the people that can't follow up. on the Gnar,
Yeah.
and then you just end up with like, what was the game? Finn, I spoke to you about it after. I think it was Brion KDF maybe
Yeah.
last week, where they just like completely threw away a win where they were totally dominating because they just did, as a team, didn't have enough like follow up on the Gnar, and then the Jinx just like walked into them, auto attacked everyone 15 times, and the game is just over.
Mm.
Yeah.
But
And it
that's
doesn't
the
matter
different
that the
time point.
Gnar is even though the Gnar can like CC everyone, if the rest of the team can't like follow up adequately, then it's kind of pointless.
I was thinking about this earlier with the meta champions right now, specifically Zeri, which I keep mentioning. Since Zeri's been released, she's had 9 adjustments to her kit.
They
Wouldn't
do
you-
usually do a lot of adjustments in the early.
No,
couple
but
of-
this is like
No, but
this
that's
is like
extreme.
unprecedented.
Oh, is it?
Like
9.
people are calling Zeri the version 2.0 of Rise because he was constantly adjusted for pro
Yeah.
play. Because solo queue, before that, solo queue didn't play him, but then Rise was still always picked in pro play. And obviously Zeri's still picked in pro play and solo queue,
Yeah.
and is oppressive in both. So
Her
obviously, yeah, it's
kiting
like-
is disgusting. She's got too much mobility. You can't engage on her unless you have like a Poppy, which is I guess why Poppy's really meta at the moment, or what's her name?
So difficult to lock down.
Yeah, if you don't have a team that locks her down, she 1v9s. It's like she's disgustingly broken, and it calls into question like whether she should even like what's Ryan gonna do about her apart from just adjust her? Maybe like she doesn't fit in the game. Like I thought when she came out she was really cool, and then like it's just the things you can do with her.
What was that game that I posted from the who was it?
what else? A pro play or like
T1 Genji, the T1 Genji game yesterday. Yesterday, as of today, being the
Yeah,
so Saturday the 30th. You know, because it's not gonna be released today.
Yeah,
so I
yeah,
have
yeah.
to talk about it like it's the day before yesterday.
Yeah.
So the T1 Genji game where what's his name, Ruler was on the Zeri, and after his initial pentakill, which was obviously like a complete war crime, and as soon as Zeri buys Infinity Edge, she just becomes completely unstoppable. But then on top of that, even in that following fight, when they managed to isolate the Zeri, so she literally was 1v4 because the rest of the team had to run down the bot side mid river, and Zeri's on her own with the entire enemy team and Mega Gnar engaging on her, and she just like has easily enough disengage and damage to ward them off for long enough that her team can get there, and then she gets a quadra kill.
yeah, the infinite kiting potential on that champion, it's too high.
The first
She's just so
pentakill
strong.
in LCK was with Zeri, and the most recent pentakill in LCK has been Zeri. And I think there's been another pentakill in between that.
There
was
was
also
3
Zeri.
pentakills this weekend from Zeri alone.
Yeah.
She's horrifying.
I mean, it's like the champion is an AD carry, but then it removes the weakness of an AD carry by giving it infinite kiting potential,
Yeah.
which is why
It's
she's
like,
such
yeah.
a problem.
And a dash. So
And and the dash. The thing is, the dash would be okay if it was legit like
if
Spirit
it
dash, where you
couldn't
could
go over
only
the
dash
walls.
through things. But the fact that
Yeah.
she can
Yeah.
extend the dash over a wall to literally go through terrain is just complete BM. It's like you caught around the side lane, does not matter.
Like the
You
only
call her out aside, and you're the one that loses out on it because she gets like 50% of your health bar and then just disappears for free before you can reach her.
Yeah.
Assuming you have shields, and she just builds up a shield as well. So
I
it's
wonder
like-
if Zeri is like the true, AD carries, like they're called attack damage carries. They're meant to be like the insane scaling champions who can like turn fights. I wonder if Zeri is like what an AD champion could be, but like the way they've made it be the way it is like it's not positioning well. It's just like not being able to be caught out because you have insane mobility, and it's not thinking about positioning and how I can get my damage safely. It's just like I've got so much mobility, you can't touch me. I'm gonna run around and do as much damage as possible with no worries.
Well,
it's
it's like
effectively the bruiser meta when like Strideberg was meta, where it was like you pick a bruiser and you always win because you have that game ring ability you're not supposed to have, which is a dash. And then you got
Yeah.
Zeri, who's the AD carry wet dream with that sort of potential without needing the items.
Well,
Yeah.
the
Why
thing
it's
is,
so
the thing
ridiculous.
is, but especially with items, because think about what I've been feeling a lot is like consider Jinx, right, as a champion is like also pretty good actually. Does a lot of damage, but the thing that differentiates Jinx from Zeri is the ridiculous mobility that they have on
mobility.
Zeri, and the fact
Yeah.
that Zeri is basically just a flat upgrade on Jinx
Wait,
almost
wait,
every
wait.
other way.
Jinx does have pretty hefty mobility in a
No,
team
but
fight.
that is from either getting a champion takedown, a turret kill, or an epic monster kill.
Or an
Zeri just has
assist.
that regardless.
That's
well,
just
takedown.
speed.
Yeah.
Zeri has pretty much the same speed as Jinx, maybe even quicker because of her passive, but also
can
a
stack
dash.
it.
No, it's I know Jinx mobility speed, like movement speed, is
The
faster than
initial
Zeri.
is massive, but it definitely falls off if she doesn't get.
Oh, if
Jinx
she
is
doesn't
good,
continue
and that's the
playing,
thing.
yeah.
Jinx is good, but Zeri does everything that
better
Jinx
Jinx.
does with all the
The only
mobility,
thing-
with
the
all
only
that
thing
stuff,
Jinx
but
does-
just better.
Only thing
Yeah.
Jinx is better is she has a little bit of CC with her traps. She has much better range and consistent damage. But even then, like Zeri is not even losing that much because you can catch up to people quite easily.
Yeah,
Your range isn't that bad, and your damage numbers are way too high, especially
Exactly.
with W.
yeah. I just I kind of like messed up at the start, you know. I got so heated about LCK in my head and how cringe the meta is right now. I forgot to ask you guys like how your week's been. I'm curious what you guys been up to in the last week.
Not
Well,
much.
I've
What have
just
I
been
done?
cooking a bunch of different recipes over and over again, testing them, getting used to them.
What have you cooked?
Well, today specifically, I cooked soba noodles with lamb, which was quite good, quite tasty. Been baking brownies and
What was the
different like
broth?
techniques. Broth. Um, it wasn't so much a broth. I had the soba noodles and then I cooked the lamb in a pan fry. But
Yeah,
then with the lamb, I made like a tomato soy sauce. It was really weird. It was really nice though.
yeah,
Like a good fusion of, I guess, like Asian and Western.
yeah.
It's really nice. And then yeah, other than that, I just been working, chilling.
My friend has recently got his first house, so I've been over there just starting to paint and stuff like that. So
Oh, really?
First house is
fun.
in like uni house or like an actual
no,
he's
like
bought.
his actual house.
Oh
Is
He's
it
shit.
gonna be
Cardiff?
renting out whilst in uni, but it's his. When he gets back, he's moving into it.
How has he afforded so? I'm assuming he's the same age as us.
Yeah. His dad's not an estate agent. It's a land.
What,
He
a
like
realtor?
sells land. Yeah.
A realtor, yeah.
So
Oh
he
yeah,
bought the
obviously
house.
I know who you're talking about, but I
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
say his name.
I don't dox him.
Docs our boy live.
Say his first
What?
name, doxing him.
I mean, if you know our location, it's pretty easy to narrow it down. But yeah,
There are
is
many.
his house like a standard two-story like flat kind of house, or
Yeah,
is it
2-story.
terrace?
It's semi-detached, so one side's
Okay,
attached, the other
nice.
side's not.
Okay, nice.
That's so nice to have a house at a young age, especially with how
Yeah.
like I'm not gonna get. I don't want to get political, but with
That's not
how
political, that's economical.
screwed,
Not to get
the-
political, but the economy.
but the
Not to
economy.
get political, but the housing market right now is completely gone to
Well, like a
fuck.
lot of it is to do with like
Politics, yes.
politics. Yeah.
It's all to do with politics at the end of the day. It always
Yeah.
relates. You can't avoid it.
Yeah.
But regardless, Harry, what about your week?
Oh, it's been a relatively uninteresting week as usual in my life.
Especially
like-
when you live in Oxford in a barn.
There's
Wait,
like very little. So
Played D&D on Thursday, didn't we?
true, we did.
Oh
and
yes.
that, and the F1 race was basically the only
Oh,
things
you
that
mean
happened.
hungry? You mean hungry?
Oh my god,
Oh
bro!
my lord!
Bro, we gotta talk. We gotta talk about Ferrari. We gotta talk about Ferrari,
It's
man.
not talking. It's shit talking. My god, I don't understand. It's like at this point, it's like if this race isn't one for you or any sort of good positions, you're out of title contention. You're not in it anymore.
There's a crazy stat, which is this race, I think, is with this many races to go as a percentage towards the end of the season, this is the furthest that second place has been off the championship leader since 2011,
Wait, 2011 was
when the
Red
new
Bull.
point system was introduced.
Oh
Sorry,
yeah,
since
and of
2010.
course.
The new point
2010?
system was
Yeah,
introduced
yeah.
in 2010, and since then, the gap from Verstappen to Leclerc is the biggest that it's been from first to second at this point in the
I'm
season.
actually surprised.
The
What's
only ones that are
Verstappen?
close are 2011, 2016, and 2020, all of which were dominant years for Red Bull, Mercedes, and Mercedes respectively. Because
I mean,
my
yeah,
God,
of course.
Ferrari!
Wait, so what was Verstappen's points currently? Isn't it like 250
He's
something?
on.
Oh
what is
my
he
god, that is a 70-point difference. It's 258 for Verstappen and 178 for Leclerc.
That's 80 points. It's an
80
80-point
points.
gap.
That is insane.
At this point, Verstappen could, as long as Verstappen finishes second in every race from here to the end of the season, even if Leclerc won every race and
Yeah.
Verstappen finished second, Verstappen would still win the title. That is how big the gap is.
The Formula One
Actions.
language.
I know, I was about to say, I have no clue what they're on about.
Have you guys watched any Formula One or like
No,
I
not
watched it a
really.
bit.
media?
I mean,
I
I
watched it a
was
bit, but not
planning
like
to get
often.
into it.
A hell of a sport.
I've heard a
It's
lot of people get into it
interesting.
recently.
I do a lot of go-karting, but I don't
Yeah,
watch a lot of F1.
I think F1's quite easy to get into nowadays because it's been made so much more accessible over the past 4 years, which is very, very good for the sport.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Accessible how?
massively.
As
Well,
in
You
like
have
a
to buy the
lot
Sky
of like,
Sports thing, though.
there's a lot more media for it. Obviously, you got Drive to Survive, which got a lot of people in on Netflix. You've got a lot
Yeah.
more media on Twitter, and like the drivers are a lot younger. They have better social media grasp, so they can actually grow their fan bases. Like example, Norris, Leclerc, Verstappen, Russell, they've all like streamed on Twitch, like when they're
Yeah.
off season.
Oh
Really
yeah,
interesting
I've seen Lando Norris before on Twitch. That's
Yeah,
pretty good.
he played Warzone a couple of years ago, I remember,
Yeah.
and then obviously from there he just kept going. Fun.
As much as Bernie Ecclestone made F1 what it is right now, the best thing to happen to F1 in the last 5 years was getting rid of Bernie Ecclestone.
Wow.
I'm sorry,
you're
but
not wrong.
unironically, he didn't care about F1 as an online entity, and to
Yeah,
switch
he
to
was very
FM and
traditional. He
Liberty
didn't
Media
want
has
it
just
to expand.
has been so good for the growth of the sport, which can only be a good thing.
Of course.
I'm gonna derail it back to, or I'm gonna re-rail it back to what we've been up to in the last week
What have you been
to
up to,
lead
Finn?
us on to. Oh, me personally, I finished my work. My contract's up at my company,
Hey.
so that was pretty good. I remember my manager on the final hour of my last day. I was playing Lodel, and
Oh
my
my
manager
God.
sneaks up behind me and is like, "What are you doing? Get off that!" And I let there. And I looked back at the screen and kept guessing. I was like, bro, I'm on my last hour. Like, what? I was still doing the work because it's like, I've said this before, I just check like images. So I could see the images, and like any time that I wasn't looking at images because there's a break in between like different batches of like images, I
Yeah.
would like guess a champion. Took me a lot of champions on my first attempt because I didn't realize how the game worked at the start. Well, my final week was quite emotional. I was saying goodbye to my work friends. I made some good work friends there. And then, like you, Zach, I've been doing a lot of cooking. Today I made like a really simple breakfast. It's a traditional like Japanese breakfast. It's really easy to make. It's called tamago kake gohan, which is basically just rice, egg, soy sauce.
Oh yeah, I've made that before. It's always simple. It tastes good. It tastes really good.
It's alright. I added stuff to it because like it's a matter of like texture. Like my mouth gets bored of the texture, so I added some cucumbers in there.
Yeah, that
I
makes
added
sense.
some
Yeah.
avocado in there. Some
I'm just waiting for like
seasoning.
the bombshell. Like he's gonna be like, I added some cucumbber, some avocado.
Well, yeah, well, no,
some
it's a simple
entire
breakfast.
chicken
I'm gonna add
nuggets,
simple vegetables with it, you know.
Yeah,
And
you know,
last
little
night,
fresh chicken
the
nuggets.
highlight of
a
my
whole
week.
watermelon.
The highlight of my week was last night when my brother went out on a night drinking. Got very drunk, was throwing up. But I was unaware of this. I was just watching anime before I went to bed at like 2 in the morning, and my brother's girlfriend walks in with a full bag of McDonald's and says, "Your brother can't eat this. He's throwing up. Just have it." And it was like literally, it was like halloumi fries. It was a spicy Italian like burger, one of the like limited editions ones they do at McDonald's, and a cheeseburger, and there was salsa dip, and I was like, bro, this is. I sat here at 2 a.m. with McDonald's I didn't pay for, watching anime. It was amazing.
It's like on some level kind of like, I don't know, but also like, goddamn, bro, you got it.
That's
I
I
know.
want to like make fun.
I didn't want to.
in
I
a
didn't
way.
want to. Yeah, like
Because I'm like thinking it's like the stereotypical. If ever read like a 4chan green text, it's like the stereotypical "mummy bought me nuggies," but it's also like
No, Mummy
that's
did not
pretty
buy me
cool.
nuggies.
it's worse than that though. Your brother's girlfriend bought you.
No, I didn't get nuggies. I got a lovely burger.
Oh,
Some
it could be
halloumi
worse. It could be his
fries.
wife's. It could be his wife's boyfriend.
That would be worse.
Yeah.
My wife's boyfriend stayed up. Let me stay up late and bought me McDonald's to watch my anime. No,
I
okay.
never want to hear that
Anyway.
sentence from you again.
I don't want to say
hear
that ever again.
I'm going to
Yeah.
assume that it's a cry fest.
That was no. But also something we've all done this week. last few days ago now, we did a in-person D&D session. We spoke about doing D&D before, but it's usually online. And as we're all splitting up to go to university, we thought it'd be a good idea to do them in person for about a month or so.
We did do one in person before. That was the very first
First,
one.
the
Oh, yeah,
first
that was
ever
the very
session
first.
as an intro, we did it in
Yeah.
person, which was a nice intro because obviously the newer players, half of you got a better introduction to D&D if you've played it before.
Yeah.
And
I'd only
returning
ever played it
players.
once before, so it was very useful.
Yeah, I remember you were in my one shot and you managed to survive. You and two other players opened a flower shop because you
Yeah.
didn't get to actually succeed in your objective, while the
Yeah.
other two fucking died.
Wait, that's so cute.
It was funny, yeah. I
He's
He's so
remember
cool,
I
isn't
had
he?
I love flowers. I think it was.
he was
I had an interest in
yeah.
flowers.
I remember he literally looked at me. He was like, "Hey, are there any flower shops?" I was like, "I had all these weapon stalls planned. I had all these like armor stands." I'm like, "Fuck."
You just
Yeah, this guy.
reuse like
guess
like
there's
Grim
one.
Snarl, the NPC, like some like grizzled like war veteran. He's just like, yeah, I normally sell weapons, but I've changed course.
He
recently. I
literally
sell,
he.
I
I
sell
was like,
flowers now. I love gardening.
he was literally like in the back of the
Somerset
shop.
moment. Sorry.
In the back of the shop, you see like one small purple daisy, and you like he's like, "I want it." I was like, "Fuck." Okay, you have the
Yeah.
purple daisy. Here you go. Can you go to the objective? Is there any more? Fuck off.
I
Get back
remember
to
I
the main
looked at one.
story.
Wasn't there a sewage one or something that made a
Oh
really
no.
bad smell?
Oh, basically, yeah, there was that, and then there was a literal like
There was
fucking
what?
river.
Yeah.
It was like I was getting very creative on the spot. It didn't make sense.
Were you
But
It was some
DM?
flowers. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was DMing. It was like 3 years ago now, I think.
It was good. Yeah.
Fucking hilarious.
I
You know,
Reese,
last
Noah, Virgil.
episode we were kind of like when trash talking John. I don't know if you know you and Matt and Zach weren't there, but it was me and Harry, and we were kind of complaining about the previous like episode with the dragon. But I kind of wanted to like make up, or not even make up for that, just like acknowledge the fact that this week in person, John was such a good like DM in person. Like he was a really good actor. I thought like he immersed me really well, and sometimes it was quite intimidating. Like especially when we were fighting a tribe of Ganassi, and he was like acting
He
out the
pointed
like
at me.
tribe leader. Yeah, he was
That's
like really
terrifying.
staring into your soul. You
Yeah.
I actually believed he was like a tribesman, and that's why in the in-person sessions I enjoyed it so much more than the online. It's just the immersion and like being around the table and actually seeing
Well,
you guys' faces when like.
for us anyway, Harry was.
I was gonna say I had a
Yeah.
slightly different experience with the
Yeah.
session because I was on Matt's phone because I
Yeah.
am not in Cardiff at the moment. So
And on a laptop.
my video was on Matt's phone and my audio was on a laptop.
Another
So
laptop.
I
had
was
your
I was
face.
sat in my
Right.
room, chilling, watching everyone else play.
When did you come back to Cardiff?
Well, the next couple of weeks, realistically.
And we're going spoons.
Oh, of course we are.
No.
No, we are.
I
We
wanted to
are,
go.
Zach. We are. You owe this to me.
Bro, I wanted to
Oh,
go to Spoons
shit.
this weekend.
Okay, you don't owe me it technically, Zach, but
I don't have the motivation that
Come on,
you
man.
did to go to Spoons to like rival everyone up. I was like, let's go to Spoons. Everyone was like, maybe not tonight.
Well, no,
and then
I
I
literally
didn't have
just
the
said-
motivation to be like, no, we're going. I'm dragging you.
I
That's the
said we
best.
can go Sunday because I didn't want to go Friday. I was like, I'm not going out on a Friday. I think Virgil shared my sentiment, and then
But
everyone else
boys,
was like, yeah,
the
sure.
late
Yeah.
nights on a Friday, the Spoons
Yeah,
stay
they're
up
shit.
late.
I hate staying out past 12 unless you're at a party. It's not worth it. It's
True,
actually
if we
not.
get there later, it's worth it. But if you get there at the normal time that we do, which is like 6, you're there for like 5. No, you're there for like 7 hours.
Some of you bastards don't stop drinking even after that.
I
This
know.
is the
So you
thing,
guys'
this is the
tolerance is like disgusting. We'll get there at like 6, and you'll be drinking non-stop until literally closing at like 12.
yeah, because it's fun.
I just feel bad that I have like a much higher tolerance without drinking like ever. I just feel bad about that.
But ironically, he got good spawned and chose not to use it.
I mean, I save my money and I can afford things like
Like what? Like
egos.
Warframe?
Anyway,
Like ego.
anyways,
Bro could
moving
afford
on.
that with
Wait.
anything.
I'll
Like
have that.
Eagle, bro?
No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I don't date eagles. I date real girls. That's the best part.
I love that the implication of that is the egos are literally like they're just like fictional.
But
Yeah,
Yeah, they are
basically.
fictional.
Half the time they are fictional.
They're not even just like people in like other countries. They are just fictional. They don't
Yeah.
exist.
They're just programmed, you know. All
don't
the fucking
exist.
programmers with their free time.
Every time I
We have
spoke to
Hatsune
one,
Miku.
yeah, it's been Hatsune Miku in disguise.
Surprise.
Jesus Christ, Hasumi, my favorite. What is it called? Vocaloid.
I was gonna say I didn't want to say Vocaloid because then that would expose that I know what Vocaloid
Yeah.
I've been in the internet long enough that I know like every phrase, and I'm not ashamed to say
I've
it.
played enough
unless they're
VR chat.
horrifying.
Bro,
Oh
don't
god,
say
yeah,
that,
this man.
I got a friend
You made
on
some-
VR chat. His name, I forget his name now. Actually, I haven't played VR
You've
chat in
got
a while.
friend, I don't know
No,
his name.
I haven't played VR
Internet
chat in a
classic.
while, but I have his Discord, and he's like, I think he's in his second to last year of high school, and
Congratulations.
no, and
Hey, he's on VR chat for a reason. He's just living up to it.
I just fucking changed tabs to read his name, so midway through the recording, there's gonna be a blip of our names or stuff disappearing. Anyway, what's his? He's really needy. I don't want to show him this because he's a nice guy, but he's like constantly messaging me like random stuff about when he's gonna. It's really wholesome. He's like when he's gonna be on, and like yesterday he wanted to play VR chat with me, and he was like, I'm gonna come on at like 8, but I'll try and come on sooner and leave my friends, because I was like, bro, you don't have to leave your friends for me. And he was like, whenever I play VR chat, he's just like there, and he's like following me around, and it's really wholesome. But it's kind of
Congratulations,
like
you've got a
I feel
minion.
bad because like yeah, he's like a minion of mine. Like we have I don't really have conversations with him. Like he's a nice guy, and I do a little bit of comedy, do a little bit of trolling with him, but yeah, he's really needy. And he just follows me around everywhere now, and I feel really bad because like some of the stuff he sends me is so random, I never know how to respond to it, and then he's like upset if I don't respond to him.
But hell no, no. I would not. That's just. I don't
That's kind of
care.
weird, bro.
Like, yeah, that's just weird. Like,
I just
don't
no,
care.
I'm sorry to be exposing you like this live, but that's kind of weird, man.
no, I'm just imagining like he's probably not got like the biggest IRL friendship group. That's most people in VR chat. So like I'm not gonna like just not speak to him or anything, but it does make me worry for his like in person like shenanigans. Like if he actually does have many friends, because you think like if you have friends in real life, you would be so dependent on people online. So maybe he is missing out on that real person connection.
Cool thing that I've realized about that though is like whenever I start worrying about someone that I've like only ever met online, and I start thinking like, oh no, I really worry about that IRL life, I remember that I've never met them in person,
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
therefore, if they suddenly vanished one day, no longer my issue.
I mean, like,
Oh,
yeah, exactly.
I know
It's
that
fine.
sounds bad, but like,
And it's also like if I don't, someone doesn't like me online, I don't really care because I've never seen them before, and I'm probably never going to see them. So I'm like,
like damn, that's crazy. There are 7.8 billion other people in this world.
yeah,
I would agree with you guys, but in this special circumstance, he's like a really wholesome like kid. He's like just
yeah. Obviously, you can like feel bad for people.
yeah.
I'm not saying you can't.
It's like
but,
a
like,
it's like a not. It's just a weird kind of older sibling. I'm not close enough to call him my sibling, but it's that kind of like you look at him and you're like, are you okay?
You
Like-
feel a sort of mentorship towards him.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
Like
older-
I need to teach you how to like make less of a fool of yourself on the internet.
Yeah, kind of.
I
And-
mean, it's like that's understandable. And I don't like you can have close online friends. Like I generally have like 2 people I know in person now from online.
Oh yeah,
But,
I have
like-
3 of my best friends from like
Yeah.
the last couple of years of my life. I met originally online.
Mm.
Me and 3 of my other, we just met him in like a Counter Strike lobby. That was me and 3 other guys, 2 other dudes. We met him, and 12 months later, we know each other more in person than we do online.
I mean, yeah, it's like you can have these relationships, just discerning which one is going to be good compared to which one's going to be just an online friend
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
important.
Well, I have like he was in this big VR chat group that I'm still a part of now, and they're all like in their like early 20s, like 23, 24, 22, stuff like that. And we have good good fun in VR chat. And then we were in an open lobby one time. Majority of the time we're in private lobbies, so we don't get kids come in. And this guy, none of us, he's got a really deep voice, and none of us realized he was like 16 for a while. And then he just happened to like get along with me and yeah, kind of just attached himself to me basically.
Parasite is what you're saying.
No.
Yumi.
Oh my
Hell
god.
nah.
Cat gaming.
Hell no.
Moving on from that, moving on from Hatsune Miku to that what we were
Your
just talking about.
parasite. Let's call it your parasite arc.
No. And let's move on from that and go to talk about the new D&D film. Have you guys heard of, have you guys watched
Oh yeah,
that?
of course.
I have.
Of
What's it
course.
called? D&D.
It's Dungeons
Honor
and
Among Thieves or
Dragons,
something?
Honor Among Thieves, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, Honor
Honor
Among Thieves, and
Yeah.
instantly when I heard that
I think
title,
it
I was
looks
like,
pretty good.
Uncharted.
Yeah.
I hope the
It
whole
looks good.
party isn't just thieves.
No, it can't be. I mean,
It's
you
just
can tell it's not.
everyone's first D&D campaign.
Yeah.
4 human rogues.
Yeah, I thought I saw the title and I was like, I better not be. It better not be.
It looks pretty good.
I'm
Four
hoping.
chaotic
I
people,
reckon-
human rogues with daggers and short bows.
You reckon?
I was gonna say I reckon that it's gonna open up a lot more people to D&D.
Yeah.
Oh
said
yeah,
this the
it'll be
other
like
day.
Stranger Things. Like there was a little boom in people in my work who knew I played D&D would come up to me and be like, "Bro, I've been watching the Stranger Things D&D and stuff like that." I think that helped it a lot, and this will definitely boost it up again. If it's a good film. If it's not, people will
Yeah.
make more
Like,
jokes
what if
about
it
it.
just sucks?
Because
Yeah.
I know
Ah,
isn't Stranger Things based off like D&D?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah. So
I'm hoping it has the
Hopefully.
goofiness of D&D. Like, you know how like you have this little like well thought out plan for like whatever task you're doing, and then you just roll a nat one and it all goes to shit. I'm hoping they have that like random goofiness to it, like where you think
They
everything's going
will.
well, and
Like,
then
it's a given. There's no way they're gonna have a
surely.
D&D film without some of the standard tropes happening. Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
I hope not. I hope so because if they just come out and it's like a normal like fantasy film that hasn't got like imagine it's just a
Literally
fantasy
just call
film.
it D&D.
Yeah, well, imagine
Right,
it's
it's
just a
just bad
fantasy
Lord of the
film
Rings,
with like
Christ.
D&D creatures and items, but none of like the actual reason that most D&D players enjoy playing D&D.
So
I'll tell you what,
so it's gonna be like a rip off Lord of the Rings with none of the D&D charm.
Yeah.
Isn't there supposed to be a new Lord of the Rings coming out as well?
a TV show, yeah.
Yeah.
The TV
Oh
series.
yeah. Did you guys see the
I
intro
really
for that?
hope they don't ruin it. I really hope they don't ruin it.
I haven't seen much before. I think I've seen like one or two of the original Lord of the Rings. I've seen all the Hobbits.
You haven't
Um,
watched the whole Lord of the Rings, Matt?
There's only
No.
3 films.
When,
Really?
when, when I get back to Cardiff, Matt, we are gonna sit down. I'm gonna sit everyone down in a room, okay? I'm gonna like trap you in. I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, guys, don't worry, we're just going out the spoons, and then I'll trap you all in a car, take you to my house, lock all the doors, and we're gonna watch all 3 Lord of the Ring movies,
I'm
extended
glad-
edition, all
I'm
day
glad
long.
this is recorded so we have evidence later.
Yeah.
In case you
If
guys
we
get
go
kidnapped,
missing, you know
what
where we
happened.
are. Yeah.
If I don't appear for my lectures in October, you know exactly where I've come.
That's definitely the reason.
I can't believe you haven't seen it though, man.
No.
Honestly, it's like Lord of the Rings is great, but if you're not into it, you're not gonna touch. Like I personally, when it comes to fantasy and sci-fi, I've always been like a sci-fi nerd growing up. Like I
I
got
always like
introduced
Star
to
Wars.
Star Wars and like
Yeah.
Star Trek from an early age, and then like fantasy came along, and I was like, this is cool, but dragons aren't lasers, so like
Yeah.
In fairness, I'm kind of a sci-fi guy as well, but like Lord of the Rings just goes so hard.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings is
I think
Lord of the
it'll be-
Rings and Game of Thrones ignored of like last few couple seasons. Books are really good.
I haven't seen a single episode of Game of Thrones.
Neither. Hand on
Yeah.
heart, proud
Yeah.
of it.
I think with fantasy, I find funny is like I prefer watching sci-fi films, but I much prefer reading fantasy books over sci-fi books every time. 'Cause it's like the way fantasy is
Yeah.
portrayed in a book is done so much better and
Yeah.
has such a better like I guess literal example to enjoy that I find like sometimes watching the films takes away from that because you got so much more descriptive value from the books and you're like, okay, this sounds I can picture it perfectly.
Yeah.
Then you watch the
Yeah.
film and it's like it can't match it because it's just literally it's not possible to put that much time into the film
Yeah.
with X amount of hours.
Fantasy's more
So-
cozy. That's what I can
Yeah.
say. I enjoy
I don't
reading
think it has to be,
fantasy.
though.
It doesn't have no, it doesn't have to be,
No,
but
it
it
doesn't have
tends
to
to be. I just like in my how my brain's wired, like thinking about wooden like we are the taverners, thinking about wooden taverns and the log fire and like trudging through snow and like these old like armor pieces and just like on horse carts and
I wouldn't call that part cozy. That's more like
no, but it just
survival.
sounds it just sounds
No,
more
I get what you
cozy
mean.
than
It's the
like
same feeling of just being in front of a log fire,
yeah.
relaxing.
Sci-fi's to me is like my brain's weird way of processing. Sci-fi to me is like sharp edges and like
Yeah,
fucking
it's much colder. It's that much
yeah.
more. It's that okay. This is cool as hell, but it's also so much more dangerous. Like
Yeah. Everything
what-
can and will kill a regular human in sci-fi, whereas in fantasy, it's like the food chain is like much lower down, and like there's way
it's
less.
like it's like that can still happen in fantasy. Just it's not everywhere at once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fantasy, yeah, I imagine it like you can walk through a forest, you see something deadly, then you look somewhere else, and you're like, oh, that looks that's a weird deer I've never seen before. With sci-fi, it's like, oh, you're trying
There
to
is
kill
no
me.
forest because it's on
Oh, you're
fire
trying
because
to
it got
kill me.
carpet bombed.
Yes.
The forest has actually been glassed along with the entire planet. Sorry, that
Oh my
happened. Forgot to
God.
mention. We destroyed 3
Classy.
galaxies last week.
Yeah, this is the intro to Warhammer now, and the Warhammer conversation beginning.
Oh boy.
Oh god.
I could talk about that for hours, but I won't.
Same.
Good because I know nothing
will
about it.
refrain. For the sake
Yeah,
of your
ultimate
ears, I will
sci-fi.
refrain from taking on my path of Grey Knights and Psychers and Space Hulk and everything that introduced me to Warhammer.
Quite like the
Oh.
Warhammer series.
The only thing I've ever seen, yeah, is the animated like Warhammer
yeah.
videos this guy made on YouTube.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, those are very high quality. I
so
know
good.
exactly
They're
what
so
you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's
That's
so
the
well done.
RTs, yeah.
I wish I knew much about the Warhammer lore because I wonder I reckon those
Oh,
videos
it's-
would be so much better if I actually knew.
No, it is. There's so much lore because the problem with Warhammer is it's so old now that so much stuff gets kind of like retconned, and just like with Star Wars, Star Trek, and even some fantasy novels, it's you got different like universes, different editions, different authors' takes on things, and whoever you ask can have a completely different opinion on like one faction's like path towards what they want compared to the other authors.
Please
Yeah.
remember that the still canonically like big bad of the entire Orcs faction, like their biggest war boss, is literally named Magorok Thraka. He's named Margaret Thatcher, and
And
Games
that is
Workshop have
Nice.
acknowledged
beautiful.
this on several occasions,
Nice.
And the
and somehow
worst
it's
part,
still real.
the worst part of that is orcs are cool as fuck. So I'm like, I have like that semi-hatred.
They're also British.
Yeah, that I mean, yeah, it like yes, the cool factor goes down, but
They're
orcs are still
canonically
cool
British.
as themselves.
They are cool. They are.
But
They're
believing
canonically
something will happen.
wait. The Warhammer world has the UK in it.
No, it's the way the orcs are represented in a very stereotypically British drunk
I said
person
like
manner.
Piltover.
They also have British accents in the Space Marine
Yeah.
game, which is really funny.
It is hilarious because you literally it's the classic hooliganism of like football fans from the
Yeah.
UK portrayed in the Warhammer universe. That's what makes
Bloke
it
cool.
It's
Bloke
actually
cool.
so good.
literally bloke core.
Orcs are just bloke core in space.
In sci-fi.
I mean,
That
yeah,
sounds
it's
kind of
fun fact
cozy to me. No.
Fun fact: the UK does actually exist in the Warhammer universe, and the God Emperor of Mankind rests somewhere in the Alps.
Wait, seriously?
It's
The
canonic.
Alps aren't in
He's-
the UK though.
yeah, but the UK does exist though.
Okay, yeah, no, I know what
Like
you mean.
Earth is just real life Earth.
Oh yeah,
like
completely. Because
40,000 years in the
obviously
future.
he is formed on Earth and he's kept in his fucking
Yeah.
chamber of containment.
He's just like chilling like somewhere on like the banks of Mount Everest or something.
You say he's chilling. He's fed
You
to
said the
thousands
Oh
Alps.
yeah,
of
he's
containment
like having his
to
soul like
exist.
eaten constantly.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Life support.
We need that. We need the Warhammer YouTube hand animated equivalent, but for League of Legends or.
No,
Oh,
I mean you've already got the cinematics.
Yeah, we got
Yeah.
Arcane, but like
and Arcane.
I want
Okay.
some like good fucking random persons. I want some. We've got Arcane. We got the cutscenes, but I want some like actual like dialogue that's not from
You
Piltover.
need to
That's
see
not
the world
canon.
of animations.
Wait. But Zach,
Yeah?
imagine for a moment, if you will,
Okay.
if the Emperor had a TTS device,
Oh my fucking
but for
God.
League.
What?
Why?
Don't tell me that wouldn't be iconic.
Everybody was destroyed. What the fuck are you doing? Oh, my
that would
God.
be good. That would be
I
good.
can't.
You can actually mod like a surprising amount of League of Legends without getting banned.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, if you don't stream it, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you can get mods for custom skins on champions.
favorite.
As long as it's not like pay to win skins.
Blizzard's
Actually,
done
The
a lot of
skin
that.
gives you
Not
a
the pay
hack
to win.
client.
Yeah,
The
He
custom
has done
skin.
a lot of pay to win skins.
you get to see everyone on the map.
Yeah, gives you scripting. But it's
I mean,
just a
people
skin,
already,
right?
people
That's
already
just
pay to win
cheating
some
at that
skins.
point. You're just
Yeah.
paying for cheats,
Yeah, that is literally just scripts.
which is like also a whole service in like every competitor.
Oh my god, the amount of Xerath players that do scripting, and like I've seen loads of.
I've never seen a Xerath scripter.
Oh, bro,
There
it's
was a
like the
Twitch
most.
streamer.
It's the most
Um,
scripted champion in League of Legends
Yeah,
because
because
he's
he has
just
all skill shots.
yeah.
But also, there was a Twitch stream I think 2 months ago. I think he's banned now, but he was legit scripting on Xerath, streaming it, and didn't get banned for like a whole month prior to that. It was insane.
I think I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, he was like
Yeah.
he was. I don't know if he was German, but he was literally going like, I don't care. Like Riot's not going to ban me.
Yeah.
I was like, seriously? He's literally
And they, to
streaming it.
be fair, they didn't for a long time.
But yeah, it's ridiculous.
There was
It's
like multiple YouTube
everybody's-
videos before he got banned. It's like
Yeah,
this
that's the worst
guy's this guy's streaming scripting. The amount of oh my god, the amount of we've talked about this before. The amount of information this guy had though, like it was predicting where like people who weren't even on the map were gonna be stood, and like
But have you considered that that's also just game sense?
no, but like to
not in
the
this
no,
case,
it was
but you
like
can
to the
predict where
T.
someone's gonna be standing.
No, but it was like
But
to the T.
perfectly.
Yeah, like it was like okay, he's in the bush and he stood here in the bush, and like.
You've
Yeah,
never-
Even
that's
people that
just
hadn't
You've
even
never like thrown a skill shot at where you think someone's gonna be.
Well, no, but the point is it's like yeah, you could. But the fact that scripts can replicate that so perfectly down to 100% or well, 99.9% accuracy, just like
Yeah, it's pretty
it's
gross.
absurd.
It's pretty
It's the
disgusting.
same as CS. It's like oh, you can easily pre-fire this angle, but this guy's doing
But
it
no one
perfectly
fucking
every time.
does. No one
Yeah,
does.
and then that guy's doing it perfectly. You're like, okay, the fact that you can do that is just like so.
Yeah, I
up
guess it's just
there.
a numbers game. Like if you do it once, it's like, oh, that was just like a good prediction. And then if you do it
Yeah.
like 20 times, it's like, oh, yeah, man, that for sure. You are for sure
Can
just
I-
predicting it, bro.
Can I get scripts for Phasmophobia? That game's so
You
hard.
can, you legit can. That's the worst part.
Oh,
People
that game
legit-
is literally
well,
so hard.
People legitimately cheat in that, and it makes no sense. It's like you can do it in almost any game. There's Dead by Daylight
Yeah.
scripts. There's oh, I'm trying to think. There's like what's it called, Left 4 Dead, all that crap.
I'm not trying to
Like,
like. I'm not trying to point out. That was my transition into talking about us playing Phasmophobia. But yeah, Phasmophobia is like so fun and so hard at the same time. Me and Matt were playing yesterday. That was kind of one of the reasons I didn't want to record yesterday because I got so into Phasmophobia. But we were playing on the new map. It was the campsite map.
Oh yeah,
It's
that
not
was
a new
good.
map, but a new one.
Yeah,
newer.
The
newest for
newest
us.
release.
Yeah.
We got it unlocked for us, and it was like it was actually really scary and really hard because you couldn't find anything for so long, and then it would just hunt you, and that'd be like your first experience with a ghost.
How
We
many,
lost a lot of.
How many
no.
dubs you guys get then?
I think we got one, didn't we? When we got like 72 gold from it.
Yeah. We did, I
Nice.
think, 3 of the objectives overall. And we had like 1 bit of evidence.
Guess the ghost right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got the ghost right.
Harry, you need to play Phasmophobia. I tried it in VR, bro. It's
Oh my god.
terrifying in VR. I'm not saying you have to buy a VR headset to play it, but it was actually terrifying to play it in VR. Just
I can imagine.
being in the middle of like this pitch black house, and then suddenly something falls over on the ground next to you, or like a breath like hits you in your ear, and you just turn around and you're not away. You're not looking away from your monitor. You're like still in the house. Oh god.
The
Actually,
amount of times I've like gotten one of you two with breathing into my own mic, like real quiet from a closet, it's too high now. Like actually,
Yeah. You've done
That's
that to
some
me a
troll
lot.
activities, bro.
to be fair, it's like it's when the ghost
That's
can't
foul.
spawn or can't actually hunt,
Yeah,
so it's
yeah.
like it's dignified. I'm not like actually trolling, but it's funny as fuck because I just hear them go, and I'm like, ah yes, these bastards fell for it.
well, you know, it's quite fucking.
No, it makes sense. If you weren't scared, I'd be a bit more surprised. But I know you're both a bit more skittish than I am.
True, but you would be equally
Yeah.
skittish if you went in VR.
No, I probably would. I actually do want to see because I don't
Yeah.
get scared
It's-
in that game, but I want to be scared in that game.
And
Yeah.
also, it's very dark in VR, so like, oh, it's dark on the PC on my screen. I want to see how dark it really is on VR.
You should possibly invest in a Quest because they're so cheap secondhand, and you can get some like good ones that haven't been used much and just like are secondhand for the fact that they bought it. Someone else has already bought it, and you can get them for like 170. And Meta has made a new update where you don't actually have to have a Facebook account to use it anymore. So you don't even have to sign up
I'm
for
kind of
Facebook if
shocked
you
that you
want.
did have to have a Facebook account.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, yeah,
I
you had
That's
to.
kind of insulting.
You didn't know that? Yeah, to have a Quest, you had to have a Facebook account to use it, but now you don't anymore.
I
I
was
mean, even
considering
then.
getting the Vive, the new HTC one, the second.
Oh yeah, the
Vive,
HTC, right? Yeah, yeah.
You're getting one.
because no, I was considering it because I found there was a place you could get one online that was in like refurbished, very good condition for like 200, and
Oh
it was
shit.
like I was like, damn, this is like a really good piece of hardware for like a really good price. And then I
Yeah.
just ended up not doing it and buying an airsoft gun instead.
Nice.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I
that's
wanted to
my
get one,
issue.
but I just
Sorry. No,
no, I
you
was
talk.
just saying I wanted to get one, but I just wasn't sure on how much I would use it. I've
Yeah.
done lots of things like that before, where I've bought things that I thought were really cool, used it for like a day, and then never used it again.
I use it quite a lot. So much so that my neck now hurts when I put it on. But it's if you find the right game that you're interested in, you'll play it more. So my games were Beat Saber and VR Chat, and I just really like those games, so I use it quite a lot.
Yeah,
I
I
wouldn't
mean,
mind doing Beat Saber because that seems like a really fun
GTA is
game.
very fun.
Yeah, it's good
Yeah.
cardio workout.
My experience with VR was years ago when PS4 VR first came out. My uncle gave one to me and my brothers because he had two, and it was great. But I think the problem that happened back then was obviously the stagnation of games, how few things are available for
Yeah,
long-term investment. And I think the problem with now is that's still the case for at least the next couple of years. Because yes, games are becoming more like VR incentivized, like games are having these options to play in VR, like Phasmophobia. But I think the problem is there's still no long-term commitment other than like with things like VR chat. And even that's just kind of like
yeah,
boring
Well,
after about a couple of weeks.
the big one for me
It's
was
sorry.
F1 has added it
Yeah, of course,
to the
the F1
2022
sim.
game.
Yeah.
And I was thinking that's one of the main reasons I was thinking about getting a headset is because for the longest time they haven't supported it. But if you have, obviously, I have like some old PS2 wheel, right, which is like kind of fine on its own.
Yeah.
But now imagine that with a wheel, with pedals, and
In
then
your
also
VR
a
headset.
VR
yeah, that'd
headset.
be
You
good.
can get PS2 pedals. I used to have them.
I have some, but like you can,
Nice, that's top
I
tier.
have the wheel and the pedals, but at the moment it's just like I have the wheels and pedals set up, and I'm like looking at my monitor, and I have to like use buttons on the wheel to like look around and look side to side and stuff. But
Yeah,
like, imagine if I just had a VR headset on, I could just do that.
Well,
My head.
Quest being so cheap is kind of helping out because, like, the most selling console last year, was the Quest, and game developers are realizing that, and there are to be like next year, like big games coming out on VR, and there are big games on VR right now. Like I played No Man's Sky on my VR headset. That shit was actually so insane. Like being on a planet and like being in space and like seeing aliens in first
yeah, I reckon
person.
that'd be cool.
No, that was actually insane. Like to
I think
another level.
we're almost getting to the point now. Like for a while, I feel like VR, everything that has had VR has had it just as a gimmick, right? Like think
Yeah,
about all the like games that
they've
exist in
just
VR, and
thought,
it's like, oh, it's just, oh, well, what if we just make a VR game, and the whole point is, oh, it's a fun little experience that you play on VR. But like
yeah.
now, imagine if someone released like a full on, like like
Or even if they just
Witcher
make,
style RPG with like
yeah,
dozens of hours of gameplay, huge amount of replayability, a full 3D like open world, explorative world, intricate long storyline that's like 10 hours of gameplay, and then it also just is a VR game. And
Bro,
like
that
obviously you rule
is
out a huge part of your audience because not everyone has VR, but like that
that
would
is
be that's what VR needs, I think, to like really kickstart itself into being like a mainstream console. Rather than
Yeah.
that is
a
like
funny peripheral.
That is like No Man's Sky at the moment, and that's also like Skyrim VR. Like there are the
the new
Skyrim
game.
VR. Skyrim VR is pretty good, but you do need if you get like mods. They're not intensive mods or anything. They're just quality of life mods to the VR, and it becomes like a fully fledged VR game. And No Man's
That's what
Sky
I'm
in
saying.
itself is like a fully fledged VR game. Like they've done so much support for it. It's
That's what I'm saying. Like, what if we had like without you didn't need like mods to make it Skyrim, and also like Skyrim and No Man's Sky are obviously designed originally to be like just regular PC games. And like the VR brings with it so many like new opportunities for like making the gameplay based around VR that actually like suits it. Because like Skyrim VR, like I've played like the GTA VR mod, right, which is like kind of fun, but GTA is clearly not designed for VR, right? Or like Doom VR. It's not a game that's designed for VR. Like just a VR version of a game that's designed for PC. I think what we should be doing, what game developers should be doing, is designing games around specifically being just VR.
Yeah.
I think the only problem I have with VR, not really a problem, but a feature is the fact that with VR, obviously you're going to be in a more intensive situation regardless of what game you're playing. And so for that reason, I find it hard to want a VR set if I come home from work and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna play some games. I can set my PC to relax for a couple hours, or I can set my VR thing sitting down or standing up. I'm taking a much more active role in it, which is a lot harder to do consistently. I feel like, especially if people have things like motion sickness to deal with.
I
I think
think
that's what's holding it back as a problem.
everyone gets motion sickness from VR when they first start, but like I got it. I constantly got headaches, but you get
I've
used to
never
it.
had it, but it's still like a thing that I think is until we kind of like I guess perfect how we do VR, because there's definitely improvements we can make to it. Everyone knows that.
Yeah, true.
But
Yeah, yeah.
until we make those steps, it's going to be a lot harder to I think
think
make it more mainstream still.
Well, one game I
convenience
played
is a big one
recently.
as well.
Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say like convenience is a big thing as well. Like you're saying, like if you can just sit down, plug in a single USB like you would plug in like an Xbox controller onto your PC, thing. Plug in a single USB, put the headset on, not have to mess around with like inconsistent like drivers and calibration and things, which is some of my experiences of VR have been like significantly marred by the fact that it seems to break quite a lot.
I'm
Like,
gonna
if it was just as simple as like plug and play, it would just be so much better.
I'm gonna blow your mind and say right now it is plug and play.
Really?
I literally put my USB into the back of my computer, turn on my headset, and like it loads up. I'm in there.
It's honestly kind of impressive. I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, like it is leaps and bounds. Like,
Well, yeah, because I was gonna say I've tried the most recently I tried one was like 9 months ago or something. I tried, I think it was the HTC one, and it's like you have to like run it in with like a like an HDMI cable and a power cable and an audio
Yeah,
cable,
just like the PS4
and
VR.
yeah, and you also then have to like set it up.
well, that's why
There's a lot of like driver shit to like set up.
the Oculus headset, I find, even though like they're gonna be Oculus Quest 3s, I'm sure of it, that will have better like specs, like, but for convenience, the Oculus Quest is so good because it is standalone. So you don't even have to have a PC to use it. You can use it. They have a feature called Oculus Air Link. So if you have good enough Wi-Fi, you don't even have to connect a USB to your computer. You can just stream it to your VR headset. Other ones that aren't standalone, a lot of future VR headset models that aren't Quest only as well are becoming standalone. So that literally now there is a headset that you can plug and play or just play, and there will be more headsets that will be just play within like a year or two.
I
But
guess
what
for
game?
me,
What
I
game are
wouldn't
you
want
playing?
to.
What get any games, bro?
Yeah, but like I remember
So
when you were saying of Phasmophobia, you had a lot of issues with your
Yeah.
headset.
that was because
What was the reason for that?
my my cable to my VR headset, just from using it so much, like I've got like 100 hours in VR chat, and it wasn't like an official VR headset cable. It's just the tip where the USB goes into my headset, because I'm standing up and moving around, has wobbled so much that it easily unplugs. But then I was like, I'm not going to use this. I'm going to use the Air Link, because my first experience with the Air Link was quite bad. But they must have done some updates since then, because I had no problems once I did the Air Link, and I don't think I'm going to use my cable anymore.
I mean, I think that's fair, but even then, it's like still had a lot. You were like taking 20 minutes or so to fix it. We had to play a match before that, and then we waited another 10
It
minutes.
wasn't no, it wasn't so much. It wasn't so much fixing it. I just kept attempting to use my cable, and then it kept unplugging. And then at one point, I was just like, "No, this is it's actually broken." And then I just binned it.
Right. Well, that makes a bit more sense.
The
Yeah.
one thing that like wouldn't want to get VR when the one reason is because I used to play PS4, and then moving to PC, it took quite a while for me to get used to games, at least playing well with a keyboard and mouse. Because obviously it's a lot easier to do now, but when I first started playing, it took so long to get used to it. I feel like with VR, that'll take another, like, I don't know how long to get used to.
It's a lot more intuitive. That's because like you look at a keyboard. I can understand from like a controller to a keyboard because it's not as like ergonomic and like fits your hands, and you've only got like 4, 5 buttons to press. Whereas with a keyboard, you got like the whole alphabet plus numbers plus
100,
syllables.
yes.
Yeah. With the Oculus, it's like you've got R2. It's basically like a controller. You have R1, R2, and you have like the square, triangle, X, circle.
Yeah. And I
It-
guess you wouldn't really be playing any like high temp, well, other than Beat Saber, any like mechanically difficult games on
Pavlov's
VR.
quite.
I was gonna say, yeah. Pavlov, but also I think that actually maybe what you've hit on is quite a good point, which is that once like the gaming community gets more familiar with VR and is able to play more intensive games, and like
Yeah.
that becomes more of an appeal to VR, like
Yeah.
Beat Saber and Pavlov already are. Like maybe that will get people more interested in it because you'll be able to start playing rather than games that are like just like single player experiences or anything.
Yeah.
You start getting more stuff like Pavlov where you can have actual serious competitive play in VR.
Do you
That'll
remember?
be cool to see. Esports Pavlov.
Do you remember Game High School? Is it Game High School? High
Yeah,
school
yeah.
game.
Video game high school.
Video game High School. Yeah, yeah. What a good TV series. But do you remember?
That was my childhood. That was
Imagine the VR industry got to the point of like EA or like esports in VR, where you're like actually watching these guys on stage.
There is
like...
an esports VR actually. Sorry, yeah, there was an esports shooter that's VR based. I remember seeing it on Twitter a couple of days ago.
Oh. It's probably
Bro,
so
that's
low profile that it's like
It is
you need
very
like
low
a
profile.
but it's
yeah.
like I want you to imagine like a Counter-Strike major, like like a full-on like arena with like like tens of thousands of like fans in attendance, and then also it's like instead of Counter-Strike, it's just Pavlov.
Yeah. Can you
Like, that would be
imagine?
crazy.
You remember like this was quite old news when like a video gamer who did a lot of racing sims beat an actual racing driver in real life. Imagine it comes to that point where like VR first person shooters get so good that the esport players are like equivalent to like actual military soldiers.
Okay, don't get your fucking
No, but like
dreams going.
when it gets to such a level of immersion where you're actually making the movements and you're actually holding the weapon and doing these peaks or however like first person combat in reality works, and you get that level of immersion and simulation where you're like you're basically there.
I guess
You start getting PTSD.
like the biggest gap though is like racing games have always like strived for realism. So like I know the guy you're talking about. I think was it Sembolic Bassi is racing an F2 now.
I think
Previously
so, yeah,
was a sim racer, right?
that was the thing. Yeah, he had experience before.
He was a sim racer with like some like Formula Regional experience, but then now he's competing in F2. But like the racing simulators have always been like realism focused, and a better racing sim is one that is just more realistic. Whereas think about like the top FPS games, right? Like Counter Strike and I know I have to say Valorant here, but I don't want to. Like think about the top FPS games. They aren't focused on realism; they're focused on competitive balance in the same way that like League is focused on competitive balance, and not
Yeah.
on like what
The visuals.
stuff would realistically do. Like realistically, like Aurelion Sol is a star god, and like Draven is like an entertainer. But like Draven's axes do a lot more than Aurelion Sol, like punching.
And Jin has a gun.
Yeah, and Jin just has a gun. Like okay,
Legion's blind but can still fucking see everyone.
yeah. And it's like
Have you not seen Daredevil? God, that's
Yeah, but there's no rain. He's just a dude. He's just blind. Like what the hell?
he's just some guy.
hey,
Shit,
you know
I mean,
some guys.
just some guy. You got fucking Darius. Some guy in armor, and he's just like, yep, bam, you're dead.
But I mean, it's like I think racing sims kind of have a unique thing in terms of being good at a racing sim does correlate to being good at real life driving because the two are like linked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because racing sims are trying to be real. And Jamie Broadbent, that's the other one that I was trying to think of earlier. Racing in Praga Cup is a big. big
Also,
esports guy.
yeah,
But
like the
Oh
way.
yeah, I saw like whilst lockdown was happening, loads of the actual F1 drivers were just doing loads of races online.
yeah, they had a whole like series, and
Yeah,
they
Yeah.
were
proper
and they were
race.
like on the simulators, they're like slightly slower than like the esports drivers.
Yeah.
But then in real cars, obviously they're fast. The F1 drivers are much faster, but it's
Yeah,
like
it's a lot different.
it's like
It's
closer.
comparable.
It's closer than it would have been 10 years ago, or than it is between like
Yeah.
you know between like someone who plays Master Yi and like an actual swordsman.
Yeah.
Well, that's what you say. You haven't seen it yet.
Blade and
I would very much
Sorcery.
like to see Yi players go up against actual trained swordsmen. I think
Me
it's fun.
too.
Have
I
you
would
guys seen
love
I
Blade
think
and
it would be
Sorcery?
fun.
Blade
Can't
and
say I have.
Sorcery?
The VR
I
game.
have seen it. Yeah,
Oh yeah, of course, the VR game.
Yeah, that's that game just recently got a huge update. And it's, to be honest, I played it and it's insane how good of a fighting game it is, especially since it's VR. And there are a lot of troubles with like fighting in VR because sometimes it's a bit hard and a bit janky because you're not actually a trained swordsman. But Blade and Sorcery, it's like, I don't know how they've done it. Like it's one step off becoming like the game you asked for earlier, like the huge open world. All they need is like one more, like two more big updates because they have dungeons you can clear out, but it's like set dungeons and like there's very little variability to them, and it's not like an open world that you walked from one dungeon to another. But like it's if Blade and Sorcery creates like an open world map, it will be like the biggest VR game ever.
I
I
really
don't
hope
think
so.
it will.
I really
Yeah.
hope so. That'd be sick.
The
I mean, that would be
combat and
great,
looting system
but
of it is insane. They need like more funding. They need a bigger development team, and that like back to the fact that Oculus is so cheap and more people are buying them. There will be that funding soon, and you know it's a good time
that's
to
not
get into
yet.
VR.
That's very hard to say. Like
I'm
that's very
really
hard to say.
excited for it.
Yeah,
I mean, that sounds great, but I think realistically, that's gonna be like at least a 6-year plan before it goes open. Because you can't just transition from closed map dungeons, open world map that functions like an open world map and actually provides players with the content they want.
no,
It's
I'm not
very
saying
true.
that. It's just like they've got basically all the systems down for an RPG. Well, like not all of them, but like they have the intuitive combat. They have the good AI. They have good looting systems. The graphics are pretty decent. Their variability of spells and items are pretty decent as well. So like, I'm not saying like the next update in a couple months or like half a year is gonna make it open world. It's a possibility,
course,
and
yeah.
if they do it and they do it well and they spend a couple years on it or a few years on it, it will
Yeah,
be
but
like
that's
the
what I mean.
biggest.
To get to a good point, it will take like at least 6 years.
No, I don't think it's. I don't think it'll be 6 years. If
I
they
hope-
started
I hope
developing
it's
it
not
now,
6 years, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was.
Like it's
No, if
most
it's-
likely around like a long time frame, not just 1 year from now or 2 years from now.
yeah, if they started it from now, I think it'd be like 3 years. If they,
Hopefully.
but obviously I don't think they will start it now. It might already be in development, to be honest, because like that seems like the way they want their game to like the direction they want their game to head in.
I could believe that we would have like a good, popular VR like game in 3 years' time. I
Yeah.
could totally believe that like there will be
Yeah.
like a proper AAA online multiplayer VR game that will exist in 3 years, and I really hope there is.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I the only thing holding me back from getting VR at the moment, one is that like I'm gonna broke, but like mainly it's that apart from F1 and Pavlov, there aren't really any games that I see myself actually committing the time into to get my money's worth out of VR
Yeah.
versus buying 5 games on PC that I want to play already.
Yeah.
But once we do get to that point, and I really hope it happens soon, then I'm actually going to be able to like commit to VR and like
Yeah,
start
no,
playing all of these things that I want to do.
Yeah, it will be happening soon. Like the growth in VR, like technology, and like budget, and like the amount of money that's in the like economic system of VR. I don't know what I was gonna. Well, that's actually cool, but like the amount of money going into VR is increased significantly, and everything's driven by money. So it will be continuing to grow exponentially because it's the next like it is the next like way to play games. Like you go from desktops or like consoles into desktops into it only makes sense the next one would be like an actual like immersive VR, and like it is the gaming experience for the future. And I'm not saying it's going to fully replace computers, and I'm just
No, of
saying it's
course
going to
not.
be the next one up there.
It's the
And
next step in evolution for gaming.
Yeah.
That's a
Well,
And
fact.
I
with-
mean, fundamentally, having the monitor, like the monitor is already like in front of you, as
Yeah.
like when you're playing games anyway. And fundamentally, if you're playing VR games that require a mouse and keyboard, all that VR does is take the monitor and strap it to your face.
yeah,
Like,
Yeah, and then rebind the controls to maybe some controllers, but that obviously
yeah,
simplifies
and then
it.
have your head orientation instead of like mouse orientation and stuff.
yeah.
But it's like at its fundamental level, like it's not much of a, it shouldn't be that much of a like.
It's
You
not
know,
a complete
systems-
overhaul.
It's not like we're reinventing the wheel.
Yeah, systems are getting
It's just,
better as well.
It's just a natural evolution of like, ergonomic peripherals.
Yeah,
It's like having peripherals that literally just fit on your face and hands.
yeah, and systems are getting better. So like, was it the GeForce guys? The next series of GPUs is coming out. Basically, what I'm trying to say. There's rumors of them coming out. It's confirmed they're coming out. We don't have the name for them yet. People are suspecting they're gonna be a 50 series instead. They're gonna skip the 40 series. But
And
I know for a fact that
NVIDIA.
it's Nvidia, isn't it? Yeah. So I know for a fact that it's either 2 billion or 20 billion. I know it's a 2 in there. And I'm not
That's
gonna say
quite
it's
a big
200 billion.
difference.
I just know it's a 2 in there,
Huge divide.
and I know it's a billion. So it's either 2 billion or 20 billion. But they've invested that much into getting the supplies for these next series of GPUs, so that they don't have this like lack of like stock. So that people won't like be paying triple, quadruple MSRP for their next gen GPU. So the systems to play intensive VR games will become cheaper, and everything's becoming cheaper, and stuff can.
Oh, obviously,
It's just natural progression of video games. Like stuff is getting better. Full stop. I don't know how to expand it. Video games are getting better, and it's becoming more affordable. So
I'm
I
just
wouldn't think-
excited for first-person League of Legends.
No,
I
you're
think
not.
it
Yes.
will be pretty funny.
you
Oh,
just
God.
want to look
Be
at
able to
Leona in
Become
VR.
first-person Leona.
See a Malphite fly over the wall at you,
Yeah.
just jump scare you.
Oh,
You're just
that'd be
chilling there,
so
and a fucking
terrifying.
pantheon drops out of the sky on top of you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
I
surprise,
can't,
bitch.
I can't imagine depressed Eon Garen actually spin in real life.
Oh my
you
god,
press,
that
you
would
press
be
E and you actually
so
just have to like
dizzy.
turn in circles.
Yeah, you legit. It's
Yeah.
like you can
forces you to.
unlimited spin rate, but you have to do it yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to. No, you have to think, guys. They're gonna fix. If they're not gonna fix their client, they're not gonna make a VR game.
Disappointing,
makes
to
the
be honest.
money,
Come on,
whatever
Riot,
makes the
step it
money.
up.
The client should be so easy to fix, but they won't do it. They won't do it.
10-year-old coding can't mess one thing up without fixing fucking.
But yeah,
nothing.
they change like one tiny thing, and like it accidentally just like removes champ select. Like surprise. Like oops, we accidentally like deleted the entire bottom side of the map. Do we have any idea how? No, we just tried to remove one piece of code in the missions menu.
we
Why did
we
this
tried to
happen?
add challenges.
no.
Game crashed. Game doesn't exist anymore. We tried to add challenges.
You guys
That's
seen
why
that
they
thing
won't
about
remove
like?
Yumi.
Have you seen the thing about like the TF2 code?
Yeah, of course the coconut.
Like
that's
all the
hilarious.
like annotations on the TF2 code. That's like no one knows why most of the code is there in that game. But,
it's just
but they've
there.
tried removing it, and if they remove it, the game refuses to launch.
That was literally a coconut on a map.
Wait,
It's
what?
just
Explain that.
somewhere.
There's some great
Um,
bits of there's one bit of TF2 code or something that's like seemingly a totally redundant statement or something, or like there's like a file in the TF2 files that's just called like I don't know, like it's something totally random, like ham sandwich or something. And if you remove that, it's just like a small like 5 megabyte file. And if you remove it, the game doesn't launch.
That's Riot Client right now. That's what they have.
So bad.
I mean, no, it literally is because Riot didn't update their systems years back when code was changing and evolving. So they're still running the client on very old coding systems, and that means that when they try and add more to the code, obviously they're adding the workload to it. So when you change one thing, it can change more and more each update. So that's why
Yeah.
it's so much harder. But it's also stupid because it just shows how lazy they were with like, oh, should have done this. like years back.
multi-billion
fucked
dollar
now.
company.
It's
Like,
like they should have updated the client in like 2014, but like they didn't,
Legitimately.
and so now it's literally like beyond redemption. There's nothing they
Exactly.
can do anymore.
Like you have to make the client from the ground up effectively. But of course, like I said, like even if they said like, multiple times they're doing that, either they won't happen or it'll take again like probably 8 more years before that even gets to a point where they can go, okay, here's our new client and how it works. So yeah, we're stuck with this crap for now.
Yeah. Alright, so this episode's getting a bit long now. I'm gonna wrap this up. Good episode, guys. It was we've talked about quite a lot. Very varied episode. You know,
This was supposed to be the competitive episode, and I didn't even complain about Silas and Wook.
unfortunate.
fuck up. We
We'll do
have
that
to
next
find-
week.
I've
We'll
done
do
it
that.
now. I've complained about them now. They're
You have.
stupid.
There we go. Done.
Thank you guys for
Congratulations.
listening. Who wants to do the bit of sellout?
Like the video, comment, make some hate comments, subscribe to the channel.
8 comments.
Yeah.
Give
If
us
you
them.
also want
Always
Yumi
hate
removed
comments.
from the game, make sure you comment remove Yumi. Make sure you like the video and share it.
Please make
okay?
sure your comment doesn't say remove Yumi because I play that champion. So
And if you
Ignore
actually,
him, he has no rights.
yeah, it's true actually.
He's a tower
got-
player as well, so
I
he
got
definitely has no
yelled
rights.
at yesterday for trying to voice my opinion whilst playing Yumi, and honestly, that was like kind of fair enough.
Vindicating, thank God. Anyway, yeah, thank you very much for taking the time to listen to our podcast.
to the me and no, thank you, Zach. Thank you for recognizing me. Anyway, see you guys.